Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with Mixed Media Frenzy. And today I'm doing, the whole group is doing this layout, which I think may be one that I had picked. I remember a while back, obviously that's an adorable photo and it's great mixed media and great composition, but what I liked about it was the corrugated paper behind the photo. It just kind of really brought the photo up. It visually raised it up so that even if it weren't an outstanding photo, you'd have to take notice. So I decided, instead of the color scheme that they've used here of grays and kind of grayish blues and then this pop of sort of an orangey gold, which kind of is reminiscent of theirs, kind of a color that's drawn from that, or at least compatible with their natural corrugated look. I actually had a sheet of this kind of coral red corrugated, and I've torn a piece here to kind of fit the photo somewhat as they've got theirs. Mine is a little square photo. I've got 3 tags, and I was getting ready to, off camera, color up the tags and kind of assemble the photo cluster. Then I decided that might be something that you'd want to see. So I'm going to go ahead, and it'll make it a longer video, but I'm going to include all of that in it. I have pulled, and this is going to kind of shock you, I've pulled for my background, I'm going to use this pre-made mixed media by Vicki Boutin, but I'm going to stamp and stencil over it so much that there will just be hints of that color underneath all this grunge that will be there. At least that's what I hope. Because it's a very different red from the red I'm using here. And so I've pulled a couple Distress Oxides, this Fired Brick and Candied Apple, that I'm going to kind of use somewhat here. You can see how this is a darker color and there's a paler kind of yellow color that there are hints of way underneath. Well, that's what I hope this is, just hints way underneath. so that's what we're going to go for. And so I have assembled a set of stencils. I've got, now mind you, the original was done by Farrell Taylor for the Crafters Workshop, and I'm using several stencils. I don't think there's a Crafters Workshop stencil in here, and I regret that. If I kind of thought of that as I just looked at this when I showed it to you. I pulled my stencils based on the texture that I wanted them to give, and I didn't look for particular brands. So I'm going to put this kind of right there. Among the stencils are these 2 Tim Holtz ones, and you can see that they are well used. This should give me a very similar kind of burlap looking texture to the one you see there. So you'll see it, I'll turn it this way and I'll turn it this way. And I've got this one called Speckles, and I'm initially going to use it to color up my tags. My tags are as they are manila tags, and manila doesn't necessarily fit the scheme I'm going for, so again they're going to get colored up quite a lot. I have a Donna Downey stencil that has this alphabet that kind of is reminiscent here, but you can kind of see it down in here and all around, so I'm going to let that be kind of an underlayer and do some texture on top of it. Plus, it's got this great texture that has holes in the texture. It's a dotty texture that has holes. So I'm not going to use the whole thing, but I'm going to use parts of it in selected places. And I've got a slew of stamps. I've got this baseball stamp, since the photo I'm using is of Barrett back when he played baseball. He's kind of a football sort of guy now. And but we're getting ready to go to a baseball game, an Astros game in Houston later this month. And I just love the little bucket of baseballs that he has there with the gloves, and he's looking up. It's a photo that his dad took a long time ago, and I hadn't seen it in a while, and I converted it to black and white specifically for this layout. So I have this stamp that has all these baseballs that are going to kind of look like that. So one of the tags is going to be stamped with that, and then the others will be stenciled. I like this set of gears, and if I can make that kind of underlying some of these other textures, maybe have it the gears going up here on top. Because my photo's square, I've got a little more room at the top and bottom, so I might have the gears at the top and the bottom and then kind of coming out to that side. So that's kind of the idea that I had there. I like this because it actually is that kind of crisscross sort of texture, and I can get a little bit different look when I use the stencil. The color is going to go like this inside the lines. It's going to be little squares. If I do the stamp, the color will be the lines, and the inside will be whatever's underneath. So some of that pink will show through. I'm going to call it a pinkish red. I've got some more baseball stamps, including this, which is reminiscent of the stitches on the baseball. It looks like that might be some nice texture to put around there somewhere. And then I've got this, which has this, it has circles around in it. It's very textured circles and little butterflies. I've also got this one, which is just the circles and there aren't any butterflies, and there's some interesting stuff in there. And I've got a Bramble Fox title. Barrett's name starts with a B, and we call him B all the time, and he loves it when I have bees on layouts that are about him. Now I think there's no coating on that. That's just like a kind of a brushed matte finish. I love it. Love, love, love that it's, so I kind of, this layout is kind of an excuse to use that. I also have a Bramble Fox stencil that has some splats and drips and other kinds of things that I might be able to mimic some of these things going on. I'm not going to use a whole lot of water, not going to use a whole lot of, it's not going to wet the paper a whole lot, but, you know, I'll kind of use this. I also used a Bramble Fox die to cut this, and I thought I might use this as that feature coming out here, but I'm going to color it up, and until I get the background done, I don't know what color. I don't know if I want to do it in a gray or the fired brick red or candy apple. I honestly don't know what color I'm going to do it, so I'm going to just kind of leave it here, actually. And the only other embellishments I'm going to have on this page, there's not going to be much on this page other than texture and the photo cluster, all of these tags. But the only other embellishments are these Dotty About Flares. This is from the Disney set, and it's, you know, red with black stars, and this is red with white stars, and this is a red grid on a white background, so I'll kind of work those in different places. So I have to have plenty of foam behind these. So before I put any, I'm going to assemble the photo cluster now, because I need to cut down the tags and kind of get them, I need to get them colored up and cut them down. This is what I tore off the end of this, and I'm not going to let it go to waste. It's going to get used somewhere in here. Maybe between the two tags that are together up there. So we'll see. I'm going to put that in the embellishment tray. Okay, first thing I'm going to do here is use, I had the stencil out. I'm going to use this Speckles stencil, and I'm going to just kind of, I'm going to use this blending tool to kind of pull up color and just kind of go through, and then I'm going to heavily edge it. I'm going to move this around, and then I'm going to use a darker color on it. You can kind of see that. I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to use the ground espresso. And if too much of that if too much of the what am I trying to say here? Too much of the underlying color, the yellowish sort of color there shows through, and if it doesn't look good, I will just kind of color it all up, and I'm going to do it at an angle here, so these, I don't do any absolute overlays. It's kind of beginning to look a little like camouflage, and that's not necessarily the look I was going for. But I'm going to now do this, and I may do the whole thing that way if I don't like how it's coming out. And I know these tags will be too long because because I have a small square photo. It's just 3 by 3, the photo is. In fact, let me do that. The pattern kind of still shows through even when I do this. And this kind of looks like a grungy, it has kind of a grungy baseball sort of look. So I thought maybe this could be the one that goes there. So I need to cut. Well, let me use my trimmer to get the line straight, right? We'll do that. Okay, so I'm going to do this. And I've got this on foam. It's probably not going to stick very well on there. So I'm going to use my tiny attacher just to add kind of an accent there. Okay, so that's one tag, and I'm going to clean this lightly. I may use it again. I'm not sure. I may use it on the background. Okay, next, I thought I would use this baseball stamp. And it is too big for either of my blocks, and I normally would use it in a Misty, but I'm going to just kind of ink it up like that and just press my tag into it. And I expect it to be messy and smeary, and there it is. So I love that. Now I'm gonna put that aside and let it dry because I'm not done with it. The next one that I want to do, I think I want to use this texture on, let me clean this real quick. I will give these a good scrubbing. That's water-based ink on there, so it'll clean up okay after the fact when I take them to the sink. Okay, so let me put that there. Here, I want to use this texture and let the kind of some of these things show. Let me see if this one would be a better fit. So I need to line it up really well. And those white strings that are on there may end up getting colored black or red or some other color. Let's see. I'm gonna go this way and I'm going to kind of start out with the dark color. Just kind of brushing that in. This is the ground espresso. There was a little of the black soot on my applicator. So now I'm going with this, and it is moving a little bit underneath, and that's perfectly okay. This is by far meant, not only is it not meant to look perfect, but it's meant to not look perfect. And this, okay, so that looks very grungy. Now I'm actually going to do a different part of the stencil and do it with the black soot. And I'll edge it in the gray. So this is going to be, you know, black dots that are kind of superimposed over and kind of making you dizzy when you look at it over the others. Yeah, see, that's great. That's just what I wanted. It looks like again, this will clean off, and I may use this stencil again. Okay, so now I'm going to take the lightest color we have going on here, which is this Hickory Smoke, and I'm going to kind of go around the tag, and I realize I'm going to have to cut some of this off, so I kind of hate that the cute part is down there. Just kind of get that over it. So there's going to be mixed media on the background and also on the embellishments. And that's kind of cool, right? Okay, that's good. Let me, I think I want the baseball one coming out the side. So this one, okay, let me do this. Let me kind of color up those strings, and I'll let them look dirty. So they'll look like white strings that used to be white and a little bit dirty. I'm going to cut them down a bit. I'm going to put those aside because I may want to use them. Okay, so this goes here. I think in the original, this one actually, And I'm gonna let that bottom part stay. Not that it shows very much, but I'm actually going to use a piece of foam to keep these separated, because I really want to build up a lot of dimension there. Okay, so I'm gonna let that stay its full length and let it kind of stick out on the side here. Okay, I think that's gonna stick well enough that I don't have to do tiny attacher, because the tiny attacher is gonna squish the foam. Okay, now let's see what we can do to this one to make it look like part of that set. So I'm gonna take this and kind of ink the edges with the gray that's still on here. Let me get the string dirtied up, and I may let this contrasting color kind of show there. In the original, it sticks out over here, and I don't want to hide the baseball, so I'm going to cut it in half and put some here and some over on the other side. Because I really want that, and it should be further down, right? Okay, and now this needs to go like that, so it looks like a big old long tag. Let me put my glue right here. Well, no. I need a piece of foam there to build up the level properly. I need this, and I need to glue it onto there, because this is at that level. I want this to be at the same level. Okay, and where's the correct? Here it is. And let me get that lined up. Okay, there. I think we're good. And then right here where there's this little gap, that's a perfect place for a flare, right? Okay, and I'm gonna add a tiny attacher there just for the look. It doesn't need to be attached there. The glue is sticking just fine. Okay, now let's work on the background. So that's our cluster, and I really like how the red stands out and draws your eye to the photo, just as the corrugated did there. Okay, now I'm going to put that there. Let's bring this guy here. Now we want this kind of crisscross sort of look where the photo cluster is going to sit. And I'm going to have it sit kind of right here. I'm going to use that as a marker for myself. So I'm going to do this. So that means I really kind of have to work on those lines. And let me do that with this gear set first, because I kind of want it as a background-ish sort of element. And I'm gonna kind of stamp it right there. Let me get my Okay, and I'm going to do it in the Hickory Smoke, which allows it to kind of take a background roll underneath some of the other stronger colors that I'm going to have there. Okay, you see how it really kind of sits in the background? I'm going to do the same thing here, but hopefully you'll still kind of get that look. Let me turn this upside down and do this one there and have it go almost to the bottom of the page. Okay, there. And then I'm going to do it. I know that this is going to go there, so I want to do it maybe out here, but I want this part of it sticking out. So I'm going to go from the end of the page in, realizing part of it's going to be covered up. Now, I don't know about you, that pink is already kind of receding even as I add this light gray on. It's not much. Now, over here, I'm going to actually do it the other way and kind of have it right there. So there's some of it that kind of is on the white. Okay, so texture 1 is down, and I'm going to put this stamp on top of here so that I know I have to wash it. Now, I'm going to take this stencil and kind of do some texture that's meant to be kind of out to the side. And I'm going to take it like right here and do some red. And I'm actually, excuse me for a second while I get a different applicator. I'm going to use a brush. I'm going to brush it on, and then I may this is barn door that I'm using here, so it's kind of a dull brownish red. Okay, so that actually, I don't like that has a kind of a straight end. So I'm gonna bring that all the way up to the top. I'm gonna go this way, not that that makes much difference there, and I'm just gonna kind of hit it in areas that I think will show above and below the photo cluster. And I can kind of go in and do more of this towards the end because it's kind of an easy application, and it definitely will kind of bring that pink more to the red side of things. Okay, so I've got stuff there. Again, I'm going to do a little bit of a check with this, and you are seeing it in those places. Now I'm going to use the same stencil and use it a little bit different kind of way. I'm going to smear some of the ground espresso onto the mat. I'm going to wet it lightly and take my stencil and kind of drag it in, get it wet, and then kind of lay it down. Okay, it's left kind of an oddball version of that pattern down, and in some places just spots. So I'm thinking that's exactly what I wanted. Let me wipe this off and get that cleaned. And I'm also going to roll this over to dry it and kind of pick up some of the really big blotches of color, although a lot of it has already dried. I'm loving it so far. I'm kind of getting past the pink, which is definitely an objective. Okay, so I'm going to go back and use this stencil again, kind of with the, let's see, where's the, here it is. I'm going to use it with this, with the black, and I'm just going to do kind of something like that, and just use it over some areas that have been stamped or stenciled already. Right in here is a good area, and I'm not really refreshing the ink on my brush here, or my applicator. I'm just kind of letting it go. Okay, so I've got that. I'm gonna go back to this stencil now, and I'm gonna do it with the black and maybe an odd shaped sort of pattern around there. I want to go up here and do, I'm going to turn it this way and kind of do a bit there. Just some smudges. Okay, again, let me do my test here. It's still looking pink to me, so here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to do some stamping with the red ink, and I'm going to use this little guy kind of all around, but I'm going to use fairly bright red ink, and I'm going to especially concentrate, let me put this back here, I'm going to especially concentrate on like this big area right here. I'm going to go through and kind of test and show wherever there's big areas of pink showing, I'm going to knock that pink back with this little stamp. Okay, so now that goes there, and I've kind of weakened that pink a bit. I don't mind if the little splotches show. So now here I'm going to use one there. Okay, I kind of like that, and I can do some other stuff there. I think we definitely need one there. And maybe something right there that's partly hidden underneath there. And then I'll do another one out here and let them kind of overlap a bit, and that'll be a secondary image, which I like. I'm going to use a secondary image right there too, I think. So this goes here. I think I need something here, and then the secondary image maybe here and here, so that I'm getting this to be kind of a forward looking image. I'll do a secondary right there, and then I'll do one kind of this way off here, and another one here, secondary, and I'm letting them be crooked. I know that this is showing out here, and I probably need to knock that down with some gray. So let's switch from red to gray on this. And the good news is, because there's very little embellishing, this guy is almost finished. These are kind of some of the last bits I'm going to be doing. And I have to remember that my title goes right across there. Okay, and I'm thinking that that extra piece of, is that all the stamping I need to do? I think so. And right now I'm going to actually do some color shine. It's Heidi Swapp's Stencil, and it is a really nice metallic gray, and I think it will also kind of serve to, it'll sit beside all of these pink splatters, and kind of, because it's shiny, it'll come forward and the pink will go more to the background. I don't know about you, but I love this spot down here. Okay, now I'm going to roll over this because this actually brings out the shine. And I'm going to move it so that, okay, that works for me. Okay, I'm going to put another bit of foam behind the whole piece here. Let me get a sheet. I know I have a sheet somewhere around and I'm not finding it. So let me do this. There, and then this up here. Okay. Now, I have the, press that down hard. I have these numbers, which, if you look here, they kind of recede into the background a bit here, and then the title goes across here. So let me bring my title Oh my gosh, I've lost my title, guys. You wouldn't know you were watching a Scrappy Cathy video if I didn't lose something along the way. Okay, well, this is not something I can go back and add later because I need to know where it's going to go in order to, I wish I could hear you all screaming at me because I'm sure you know where it is. Oh, you know what? I have this other stamp that I thought I might use. Let's use that just little bits because Barrett will notice that. And what color? I think I'm going to go with the Grand Espresso. And I'm just going to kind of do it like that. And there. And I'll do it like this here. And it doesn't matter. In fact, it's preferred if it doesn't stamp perfectly. Like it won't here because it's got lots of levels to cross. And I'm going to kind of go like that. And maybe like this. And right up there is where I think I'm going to put these numbers. So, because I think the title's going to go here. And I think that's where it's going to go there. And I think I'm going to put this here. And I think I'm going to color it kind of a blend of Ground Espresso and the Hickory Smoke. And the Hickory Smoke, I thought I would actually do like this. And it's going to look very antiqued because I did two different textures of the color, and I'm letting a little bit of the white background show. So if I do that there, and what I need to do now is I need to get, I want it to snug down very flat. Normally when I do die cuts or cut files, I like to glue them in one place and let them kind of stick up in others. But this, I do not want dimension. I want it to look like it was stamped or printed or stenciled onto the page. So now I'm going to kind of spread the glue across there, and never mind if it gets on the front. So I'm going to kind of put it sort of right there. And then I'm going to use something that I hope doesn't stick, and I'm going to burnish it down and hope it will stick to the page and not to this. Okay, so that's down. And the glue, it's sticky on the outside because of the way I smeared the glue. And that's okay because it'll dry and it won't stick when it's dry. Okay, here I'm going to let this overlap this card, this tag, and I'm just going to glue it at the B. That's enough to stick it down, and then I don't get involved in trying to get the letters absolutely level with everything. I maybe should put some on the H because that's going to hold it over there by the photo. It'll keep it from turning around. And even if the only reason I need it is until it dries. Okay. Now, where else do I need anything? The pink does not bother me at this point. I'm good with that. The one other thing I know that I want to do is to ink the edges of the page. And I kind of want to do them, you know what, this is not, I kind of want to do them, I'm losing my, my applicator there. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull it off, and I'm just going to use it like this. It's meant to be kind of a shadowy looking sort of smear. And, you know, for a boy's sports page, there's hardly anything any grungier than little boys before, after enduring playing sports. Although I will say teenage boys kind of tend to run for the shower in case they might actually be, you know, around teenage girls. So I like it. I actually think the colors came out different from what I had hoped. But I don't mind them. I don't, the more of that pink shows, and in contrast with the red, it actually looks almost bubblegum pink. But Barrett has always been a boy who was perfectly okay with pink, and he liked it. One time he said he liked pink, so I made a whole pink layout, a layout that was all pink about him, and he loved it. He actually, I think, reposted it on Instagram, and I think somewhere along the line a little girl had told him that pink was cool for boys. Okay, I think we're done except for the flare, and I wanted to get this frame on to kind of get, that adds to the grunge, and again, to me, it kind of diminishes the look of the pink. Okay, now we're going to go in here. First of all, we have this little piece of corrugated, and I can kind of sneak that under there with a little bit of glue. Actually, let me use the corrugated side. The shape works out better that way. So let me kind of sneak that under there. Like that. Okay. And maybe right where that hits is where I could put this one. And actually, let me see if maybe I like this one better there. I think I do. I'm going to kind of concentrate these around the photo cluster. That one kind of right there. This one with the white stars looks good there, and then maybe the grid would look good right under there. Okay, let's do that. I'm happy with this as a page. I would say that I'm not sure how reminiscent of the original page it is, but it's got the crisscross lines that I've kind of faked out on it. And it doesn't have the dimensional layers of let me get the grid lining up with the grid above it. Okay, there. Now, I do see some stuff right in here that I want to minimize. So, I'm going to, I actually think this one is a busier stamp. And this is a visible images stamp, and I must not have used this one before because it's hard to come off. Okay, I'm going to kind of do it around, and I'm going to use the gray. Just kind of touch it on and touch it down. Okay, not much shows there, but it kind of produces a little bit of a bridge from here to there. Do that there, and something here. Okay, I like that it's adding some circular elements there. Let me do that. And I kind of want to do this so that it encloses that square. And I'm going to do that here too, so that it kind of, these kind of gauze looking squares are just kind of hanging out there. So I want to sort of enclose them with some circular or other elements that kind of tie it back into the page. And I really like what this is doing to the overall design. Okay, and then up here too. And then to me, just the stamping in gray, even though you know that I stamped it last, it kind of looks like it recedes back into the background. So, kind of doing some of that over there. Actually, I need to cut these off, right? And they're appropriately dirty looking. I wonder if, I thought about maybe doing something closer around the photo. Or something on top of that, that guy. I'm going to look for a small word strip to go, and I'm looking to see if I have anything on my desk. I have one that says "this very moment," but it's pointing the wrong direction. I could make it not point. I can just cut that off, and I could grunge up the edges. Where's my grunger? It's a grunger. That's the official name for this. It's an official scrapbooking tool, is a grunger. Maybe kind of put that there, and then I need some foam over here. So almost done. Not quite, but almost. Let me do this, and then I will peel that off. I think this is 2 layers of foam that it's gonna be having to make up. So I'll put 2 layers on it, put a little glue on here where it touches the button, the flare. I'm gonna go here and there. Okay. I need it straight because there's a grid there that's a guide. If I can't get it straight there, then I really am in trouble. I don't know if any of you follow JQ Crafty on YouTube, but the name of her channel is If It's Crooked, or if it's not crooked, I didn't create it. And she has a very cool approach to, casual approach to things. I'm looking to see, I have this just happened to be on my desk, and what it is chipboard flare by Pink Fresh, and it has this piece which has both the red that I'm using in here and the pink. So it kind of makes them work together. And I like that. That's the exact color pink and the exact color red. So thank you, Pink Fresh. I'm happy to have that there. Okay, so it's a grungy baseball page that's done on a pink background with red, gray, and coffee colored accents. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. And I came in under an hour, guys. So see you next week for Mixed Media Frenzy. Be sure to check everybody else out. See all their takes on this very same layout. And the original is just so amazing. I can't wait to see what everybody else does with that. It's just so cool. So bye.